In the heart of rural Ireland, nestled between rolling green hills and quiet cobblestone streets, lies a town untouched by time. It's the kind of place where everyone knows your name, where Sunday Mass is more than tradition. It's life itself. But on one cold morning in early spring, peace turned to panic. Sarah Wilson, a bright young woman of just 23, was found dead behind the old stone church. Her body lay in the grass, surrounded by silence that only death can bring. At first, police believed it was a tragic accident, maybe even suicide. But the scene told a different story. There were no signs of struggle, no footprints, no fingerprints, except one. A single handprint stained the ground beside her, and above her, carved into the wooden door of the confessional booth, was a message written in Latin, Peccata remittur tibi. Your sins are forgiven. The word sent chills through the community. Was this some twisted ritual, a message from beyond, or a confession left behind by the killer himself? As detectives began their investigation, all eyes turned to one man, Father James O'Connell, the town's beloved priest. He had served the parish for over 30 years. He was respected, trusted, even loved. Children ran up to hug him after Massachusetts' elderly parishioners leaned on him for guidance. But now, he was the prime suspect. Neighbors reported seeing Sarah entering the church alone the night she died. She had gone to confession. When asked about it, Father James hesitated, then said he couldn't remember. That changed everything. Inside the rectory, investigators found something unexpected. Audio tapes labeled with dates and names. Confession recordings. Dozens of them. They weren't supposed to exist. In the Catholic Church, the sanctity of confession is sacred. What is spoken inside a confessional is never to be repeated. But these tapes told another story. Some confessions were normal. People asking for forgiveness, confessing sins of guilt, shame, regret. But others were darker. Voices whispered things no one should ever hear. And then came the most disturbing tape of all. One labeled simply, March 4th, Sarah Wilson. When they played it, the room fell silent. What they heard would shake the entire case. Stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe, leave your thoughts in the comments, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Until then, keep searching for the truth. The tape began with the soft hum of static. Then came Sarah Wilson's voice. She sounded nervous, hesitant. Father, I don't know if I should be here. A long pause followed. Then a man's voice, calm, familiar. Father James, you can always come to me. Sarah, you know that. What happened next was unlike any confession ever recorded in the parish. Sarah didn't confess sins. She confessed fear. She told Father James she had seen something she wasn't supposed to see. Something inside the church. Something hidden behind the altar. She said she wanted to tell someone, but was afraid no one would believe her. Then came the most chilling part. I think someone's been using the church for things they shouldn't. Father James responded slowly, carefully. And what do you think you saw, Sarah? Her voice trembled as she answered. Something evil. Something dressed like you. Another long silence. Then Father James spoke again. We are all vessels, my child. Some carry light. Others carry shadows. The recording ended abruptly. Detectives played it over and over, trying to understand what they were hearing. Was this a metaphor? A spiritual conversation gone dark? Or was it something more? The fact remained, Sarah Wilson was dead, and the only person who had heard her final word before her death was the man now suspected of killing her. But there was more. Inside the rectory, investigators found another box of tapes, older, more worn. Some dated back decades. As they listened, a pattern emerged. Other young women had spoken of similar fears during confession. Strange sounds in the basement, doors that locked from the inside. A shadow they believed was watching them. One woman even said she saw blood on the altar cloth. None of them had died under suspicious circumstances, at least not until now. So why had Sarah's confession led to her death? And why did Father James keep these tapes in the first place? As detectives dug deeper into his past, they uncovered something even more unsettling. He had requested a transfer years ago to a different parish, far away. The request was denied. The official reason? No misconduct found. But the internal memo told a different story. Concerns raised about unusual behavior during confession sessions. No evidence of wrongdoing, but ongoing monitoring recommended. It was clear now this wasn't the first time questions had been asked about Father James. It was just the first time someone had died after speaking to him. Father James O'Connell had spent decades building a life of faith, service, and quiet devotion. To his parishioners, he was a man of God, gentle, wise, always ready with a kind word or a prayer for those in need. But behind the walls of the church, something darker had taken root. Detectives reviewing old parish records uncovered disturbing patterns. Over the years, several young women had come forward with unsettling claims, whispers of inappropriate behavior during private meetings, strange requests during confession, and moments that felt more personal than spiritual. Each time, nothing came of it. Complaints were dismissed. Witnesses withdrew their statements. Records were quietly sealed. It was as if someone had protected him. Now, with Sarah Wilson dead and her final words exposing fears she never voiced to anyone else, investigators turned their attention to Father James like never before. They searched every inch of the church, from the stained glass windows to the cold stone basement beneath the altar. And what they found chilled them to the core. Behind a false wall in the basement, hidden beneath layers of dust and time, were objects no priest should possess. A rusted dagger wrapped in faded red cloth, a small wooden box filled with locks of hair tied with string, and a leather-bound book filled with handwritten notes, some in Latin, others in English. One passage read, "She saw too much. She knew too much. The devil speaks through the innocent." Another entry, dated just days before Sarah's death, simply said, "The veil is thinning." Forensic teams confirmed the items had not been placed there recently. They had been hidden for years, possibly decades. This wasn't the work of a single night. This was ritualistic, deliberate, and then came the most shocking discovery of all. Inside a confessional booth, where Sarah had sat just hours before her death, detectives found a small compartment built into the wood paneling. Inside was a hidden microphone. Someone had been recording confessions long before Sarah walked in that door, and someone had been listening. As authorities traced the recordings, they realized something even more chilling. Many of the tapes had been copied and stored elsewhere. Some were missing entirely. Whoever had access to these recordings had gone to great lengths to control the narrative. So was Father James truly the killer? Or was he just another piece in a much larger, more terrifying puzzle? As the investigation deepened, a chilling possibility began to take shape. Father James O'Connell might not have acted alone. The hidden items found beneath the altar, the secret recordings, and the decades of unexplained behavior all pointed to something far more complex than a single priest gone rogue. This was a system, a pattern, a cover-up that stretched beyond one month. Detectives turned their attention to the church archives, searching for any mention of similar cases in other parishes. What they found sent shockwaves through the department. In the 1980s, a young girl in County Galway reported seeing a hooded figure inside the confessional booth during late-night Massachusetts. She described hearing a voice that didn't belong to her usual priest, one that whispered things only she could hear. Weeks later, she disappeared. Her body was never found. Then in the early 2000s, a nun at a convent near Cork came forward with allegations of ritualistic activity taking place in the basement of a now-closed parish. She claimed priests were meeting in secret, using religious symbols in ways that defied doctrine. She was transferred to a remote monastery within days. And now, Sarah Wilson. Each case had one thing in common: whispers of a hidden group operating under the guise of faith, protected by silence, shielded by power. But there was another thread tying them together. A name, not Father James. Someone else, an unnamed figure who appeared in multiple confession tapes, always referenced indirectly, a shadow behind the caller, a presence no one dared speak of directly. One recording from over 20 years ago captured a frightened woman confessing in a trembling voice. "He comes when I'm alone. He says he knows my sins before I even speak them." Another tape, from a teenage boy, said, "I saw him standing behind the priest during Massachusetts, but when I blinked, he was gone." Who was this figure? Was it real, or just a hallucination born of fear? Then came the most disturbing discovery yet. Inside the leather-bound book found in the false wall, detectives found names, dozens of them. Some crossed out, others circled. Sarah Wilson's name was among them. So was Father James. And beside his, written in red ink, were 3 words. He is chosen. It was clear now, this wasn't just about one death. This was about control, about secrecy, about a dark force hiding behind holy robes. And if Father James had been protecting someone or something, then maybe he wasn't the monster everyone thought. Maybe he was just another victim. Stay tuned. Father James O'Connell sat alone in his cell, the sound of distant church bells echoing through the cold concrete walls. He had been silent for days, no interviews, no statements, no plea deals. Just quiet reflection, as if he were waiting for something. Or someone. Detectives believed they had their killer. But the deeper they dug, the less certain everything became. There was no direct evidence placing Father James at the scene of Sarah Wilson's death. No DNA. No fingerprints. No confession to murder. Only questions. And one chilling fact. Sarah had gone into that church alive, and she never came out. So what happened behind those doors? Investigators re-examined the timeline. Security footage from nearby homes showed Sarah entering the church grounds just after 9 p.m. She was alone, but she didn't leave alone. At 9:42 p.m., a shadowy figure was captured walking across the courtyard, just outside the camera's range. Moments later, the footage cut out entirely. Just like that, as if someone had known exactly when to shut it off. Then came the final tape, not from the confessional booth, but from a hidden recorder found inside Father James' private study. It was recorded the night Sarah died. In it, 2 voices can be heard. One is clearly Father James. The other is unknown. They speak in hushed tones. You knew she would come. I tried to warn her. She saw too much. She knew the truth. Then why let her speak at all? A long pause, because I hoped she could be saved. Then silence, followed by a whisper, almost inaudible, but not even God could save her from him. The recording ends abruptly. Who was the second voice? Was it someone within the church, or was it something else entirely? Authorities tried to trace the voice but found no match in any database. It was as if the person had never existed. And then came the most shocking twist of all. Days before his arrest, Father James had sent a letter to the Vatican. Not a confession, not a plea for help, but a warning. Something has taken root in this parish. Something ancient, something evil. If you do not act, more will follow her into the dark. The letter was never answered. Now, with Father James behind bars and Sarah Wilson buried beneath a simple stone cross, the town remains divided. Some believe he was a monster in disguise. Others believe he was trying to stop something far worse. And some still believe he was chosen. So who was truly responsible? Did Father James kill Sarah Wilson? Or did he die trying to expose the real killer? Stay tuned for the final question. Did God fail her? Don't forget to subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comments and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Until then, keep searching for the truth.